It's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
Hey everyone, it's M.A.T.E here, and I thought today I would do something a little bit different and do a review of the Game of Thrones mod for Crusader Kings 2. So I will put the link to the mod in the description, and I'll also link a video I did a while ago about how to install mods and where to pop them for Crusader Kings 2 if they're not part of the Steam Workshop, which this one is not. But basically, I thought I would run through some pros, some cons, and just my overall feeling about the game. Having put in just over 500 hours into Crusader Kings 2, the game, I think it's fair to say probably 75 of those hours would be the base game, and the majority of the rest were all for mods, because they just add a new flavour to the game and give you, basically, you can fulfill out your fantasies and joining your favourite fantasy shows or genres. And certainly the Game of Thrones mod is one that I definitely clicked with. Now the mod itself, I think the main pro for me has got to be the immersiveness. The modders have obviously put in a colossal amount of time into the details and the minute details that they go into, putting in sort of historical facts, even for items that are in your treasury. They give you a little bit of background behind them. And also to add to that, there's the unique items that they've added to the game. So for example, Robb Stark, you'll get ice, the Valyrian steel sword, and all these things are all relevant to not only be cool to have in the treasury, but they also affect the gameplay in improving your stats, depending what you have in the treasury itself. And another sort of pro is they've clearly just made such an immersive map. I mean, the map is enormous. You have all of Westeros, the entirety, split up into God knows how many counties that they've had to make a lord for each of them. Referring to the books, they've clearly done in-depth research into who owns what the castle would be called for the county, what sort of size it would be. For example, Harrenhal, you can notice it's the immense size it is depending on what area you're playing. And then you go across the narrow sea to Essos, and it's entirely different. The regions are separated, and the way they interact with the city-states, all entirely different, and presents itself for a completely different type of gameplay. Similarly, when you play further north and you look towards the Wall, if you choose to play as the Lord Commander of the Wall, you're going to get a completely different experience than playing as, say for example, Aerys the Mad on the Iron Throne, trying to defend yourself and retain control of the Iron Throne. And similarly, as a wildling in the far north, you will be trying to unite the tribes together in order to form a united front against the Wall. And it's this variety and all the options that you have at your disposal which I think really set this mod apart. Also, I think one thing to point out is the amount of scenarios that you have. So typically, at least from the several mods that I've played and seen, they'll have one scenario, which is a lot of work in itself and a lot of effort. But this one has got several. You have the Dragon's Conquest, to play as Aegon and try and actually form the Seven Kingdoms, unite the realm, and create King's Landing and the Iron Throne. You've got the Blackfire Rebellion and Robert's Rebellion, the Clash of Kings scenario. All of these different characters, different stages in time, all with unique events. I mean, the sheer amount of work cannot be said enough, because it's clearly been an immense amount of work put into it, and it definitely shows. The detail is truly incredible, and there's so much for you to play in the different scenarios that it's certainly worth the download, in my opinion. I would say that one of the downfalls to the mod is probably less a downfall of the mod itself and more a downfall of Crusader Kings, in that sometimes gameplay itself can be a little bit slow. So if you are trying to expand or trying to go from a sort of minor county lord all the way up to emperor title or king on the Iron Throne, it's going to take you a long time. It's a long investment. It's not like something you're playing where you can hop on for 30 minutes and hope to get to the very top. It's a time investment, and sometimes the game can be a little stagnant. But again, I think that's more a reflection of Crusader Kings 2, in that sometimes if you're trying to fabricate a claim and it's just not clicking, if you've not got the percentage chance going in your favour and the dice doesn't roll that way, then it's not going to be great working for you. But for the vast majority of the game, you have various options in order to expand. So you've got options through marriage, setting up heirs in order to, when they assume a title, that they will then gain additional titles. If you've married them to other people, you can form alliances. There is a lot there, but it's just sometimes, if you're a lower lord in particular, you might just get stagnated by the fact that you can't expand, you've not necessarily got any family, and you're stuck trying to grind through to get that little bit of luck in order to expand your realm that little bit. I think that's one of the probably largest criticisms, but again is predominantly a criticism, at least in my opinion, of the base game rather than the mod itself. And I do understand that you can't necessarily go from the Lord of one county all the way up and expect to become King of the Iron Throne in an instant. It's not going to work that way, and it does take a little bit of work. The other thing I think to look at is the amount of additional mods that you can put on. So there's various sub-mods it's compatible with. You can go on the Steam Workshop and see what else you can add, for example various music mods, which all combine into create this really immersive experience for you. And for me, as I've stated, that is the main appeal for this mod. I mean, I've put in God knows how many hours into it, and all of it has been enjoyable. It's been a very stable, reliable mod. Some of them don't get updated, so they sort of die out. But this one's continued to be updated by the team, who I cannot praise enough for all the effort that they've put in. And just to make, I mean, the 5 scenarios that they made, the variety there alone, and then you can obviously delve into that deeper by the sheer variety in selection of lords per scenario that you can do. And they obviously have recommended lords for each scenario, which will have unique set pieces for you. For example, Daenerys has her own story, trying to conquer Meereen and then launch her way across the Narrow Sea, which I've been currently playing through at the moment in my channel, which I'll put the link down below if you're interested to see that. But a whole unique story just for her. It's taken, well, it must have taken a long time to implement that. And a lot of effort has gone in, because there's great detail in the characters that are immediately in her court, following the books, following the story, and using the mechanics of Crusader Kings 2 very well, in my opinion, in allowing you to choose certain events and not necessarily follow the status quo if you want to. You're perfectly entitled to forge a completely different story for the realm So you could say, actually, we're not going to go across the Narrow Sea. We're going to stay in Essos, and we're going to conquer all of Essos and be just Queen of Essos and completely ignore the Iron Throne. And Daenerys will never care about it again. I mean, you can do that and then change it up in your next playthrough and do her coming straight away to the Iron Throne. Don't care about emancipating the city-states. And it's all in your hands as the player, which is a great asset for the game to have, and a great asset for the mod, particularly if you're into the books. I think it's extremely lore heavy. Having read the books a while ago, I know my lore's a bit off at the moment, but I know lots of people are very much into the books and the lore. Even if you've just enjoyed the TV series, there's lots that you will recognise and get into here. Lots for you to sink your teeth into. And certainly the game has provided so much detail, incredible amounts of detail. Things you hear about in glancing in the book, like you'll find Valyrian steel weapons off in other houses when you look at their treasure and read about the history of it. There's so many nuggets of information for you that I think the mod needs a spotlight on it as much as possible for the sheer work that's gone in and how involved it is in the universe. And for me, it's certainly been the best mod for Game of Thrones that I've played, and certainly one of the best mods for Crusader Kings 2 as an entirety overhaul mod. I think it is, without doubt, one of the best. But let me know in the comments what you think. If you've played it, if you'd like to play it. I will put, as I say, the link to the mod in the description, and I would certainly recommend for people to download it. The size of the mod is pretty substantial for a Crusader Kings 2 mod, but when you look at it, how much content you're getting. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of hours you can put into this, and every single one completely immersive into Game of Thrones. And I cannot thank the modders enough, because it's really given me a lot of hours of joy, and it's one of those mods where you can just wash away the hours. You can see them go by because you get so immersed into it. But I won't ramble on anymore. I think you've heard my sort of praise for the mod, and the little bit of negativity that I've outlined. But do let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be doing some other mods as well to get into and possibly reviewing, just to widen the range of content on the channel. If you're enjoying the content on the channel, and if you enjoy a little bit of reviews for mods, please do leave a like on the channel, as it really does help. All support is greatly appreciated, and I'll see you all in the next one.